In the future, you'll be able to live forever simply by hopping into a new body when yours begins to fail. That's the premise behind the new sci-fi film Selfless, but of course, immortality is complicated.
What's up? I'm Derek Luke, and you're watching Made in Hollywood. Now you're about to watch a clip from my new movie, Selfless.
How are you feeling?
How's that new body smell?
Sense of humor. Good.
Just relax and have some fun. After all, at your age, I'd say you've earned it.
So at the beginning, how did your character, Anton, help Damian, played by Ryan Reynolds?
He's the guy that represents your average guy that's trying to get along in life, and you just befriend him. And, you know, Anton represents to Ryan's character a person just to help ease him into a new consciousness.
This wasn't a hallucination.
Immortality has some side effects.
How would you describe the dance between your character, Madeline, and Ryan Reynolds' character?
Well, it's a funny dance. It's an awkward dance, let's say, because this is my husband, but all of a sudden it's not my husband. And when I meet my husband and see him and it's not him, I just want to get to the bottom of it and get my family back.
He actually ends up inhabiting the body of this younger man that was supposedly grown in a lab. He quickly finds out that that person was not grown in a lab, that he's in fact a living, breathing person with a wife and a family.
How is this possible?
Did you direct Ryan Reynolds to adapt to some of the same mannerisms that Ben Kingsley had set up?
In an ideal world, that was the idea. And then, of course, I didn't get Ben Kingsley until Ryan was almost practically finished. So what I had to do was reverse it, Sir Ben into it a little bit.
I cannot do an impression of him at all, nor do I try. I mean, by the time we've swapped consciousness, the character's sort of suffering from a kind of duality. There's two people inside this one body, essentially.
You know, he's in the thingy-majig with the girl.
What I love about working with Tarsem is he's like editing you even in the conversation. And so even though I had a backstory, he already created a whole outlook of the film.
I always think that it's such a privilege to be able to work in this industry, let alone work with people that you admire. So for me, it was Ben Kingsley, it's Tarsem, it's getting a chance to play in the sandbox with those guys.
There is no science, no progress without sacrifice.
I never wanted others to suffer.
I really, really like this title, Selfless, and I like it for so many different reasons. Why do you think this might be a perfect title?
I think Selfless is a great title just because it makes you kind of feel like what's the lengths that you would go to help your loved one and your family member.
Everybody talks about, man, if I would, I would come back, I'll be this guy or superhero or even an animal, so that's how I relate to that topic.
He came up with the title and I just added the slash thing. That was my contribution to
the idea was, on the one hand, it reflected the journey of the character that has to go through the movie, and at the same time, it created this image of these bodies as vessels that have no consciousness, that have no self, that can be interchangeable, So we thought that it had a interesting double meaning.
I think there's a lot of different hidden meanings in that, the idea that you're letting go of your own self and moving on to something else. And I think those themes are kind of bookend the film. The beginning of it is certainly, we're just into a kind of a sci-fi element of a person, Ben Kingsley's character, shedding his skin essentially and becoming this younger man.
Without me, your mind will relapse. And we both know who takes over.
Made in Hollywood.